But thanks for listening. Yeah. Welcome, everybody, to We Say Things, episode 261. Sunsfan here with Cinder Man. Greetings. Greetings.
Hello, Shannon. I'm here.
You made it.
And as always, now that we are doing some of the recordings in the evening, I feel way more awake and invigorated.
Yeah, it looks like it. You really do.
Thank you. That's nice of you to say.
I'm still, quote-unquote, jet-lagged because I'm waking up at like 10 a.m.
Wait, when did you come home?
It's been almost 2 weeks, and I don't know what to tell you. It's bad.
You're a mysterious creature. Well, soon you're going to fly east, and then
it's gonna be
I'm
fine.
sure you can handle your jet lag by going somewhere else in the U.S. I'm sure that will come better perfectly for you.
Yep, thank goodness for that. Thank you to our beautiful patrons. 10 out of 10 gold blooms, malicious damage, Shohei and Luca sleeping like a baby, LA in 5, Amish Toaster, see you in Raleigh, motherfuckers, No Matter Than a Hatter, Crownfall Enjoyer, Captain Broccoli, Suns Nugget Boy, STGC Daniel, Pepperballs, and T Coil.
And Vlad, let's have Puppy on the podcast, Disco Farm D, The Mega Poop, Shark TM, Janie, Dop, Wooden Aftertaste, Anonymous, and Mr. Niebling Recommends, Season 3 of The Wheel of Time. It's finally good, and that's a fact.
All right, I'm going to comment on this. Okay. I have been watching it as well. So, something has drastically changed in the show, and I thought for sure there's a new showrunner or something. I looked it up, and it's not. It's a much more serious show all of a sudden. The thing is, you have to get through 2 seasons of absolute fucking drivel. Like, it is such a shit show.
Them, then?
Yeah, I was going to answer that because sometimes I have nothing to watch and I want to watch something while I eat. And Twitch streams just suck ass. No offense to Twitch streamers out there. They're just not entertaining. So I just put on a show, and it's usually like a hate watch type thing. I did that for The Expanse that had horrific...
If you like hate watching, Twitch is perfect for you.
It just doesn't hold my interest. But like Expanse was a great show for hate watching because like the universe around it was so interesting, but everything in terms of the execution of the show was extremely poorly done. Acting, dialogue, writing, etc. And Wheel of Time, like the source material, I've never read it. I heard it's great. First 2 seasons, just terrible, dreadful. This 3rd season is actually good. Like, I watched episode 4 the other night. I'm like, this was an amazing TV episode in general. This was really good. And I don't know what the fuck's changed, Cinderin. It's much more serious. There's actually gore. There's still some issues with... I mean, some of the stuff you can't fix anymore. It's the casting choices were just terrible for a few of the characters. But
how do you know that if you don't know what the characters are like?
So, okay, that's a good question. So I'm coming from it from a standpoint of somebody that has not read the book. So maybe it's a good casting choice based on what the character was like. But I think they're not doing a good job acting. So there's that. Maybe they're bad actors in the books, and they're just doing a great job. I don't know.
That's a good way to do bad casting, is to just cast people that can't act.
Yeah.
That's a good way to fuck it up consistently if you want.
But yeah, the new season is surprisingly good. I mean, this is an Amazon show, so typically their shows are pretty bad. I think The Boys has always stood out as like their best show, but Wheel of Time and Lord of the Rings show is terrible as well. I hate watch that. Source material is great, execution terrible. It's something about this Amazon shows that's not The Boys. Everything feels cheap and plastic, and you're not in the universe. I don't know what it is, but this season's much more gritty. So I would agree with Mr. Niebling. Thank you for the recommends, sir. Thank you.
Niebling so far hasn't been wrong about anything he's written, right? So why this time?
That's true. We're waiting for the day.
Yeah. He's got it figured out.
So with that, let's talk some Dotes. 7.38C came out apparently in the middle of a series.
Yeah.
Middle of a series for the Fissure tournament. There's some interesting changes. I'll let you take over. There's a couple points where I will interject.
Right. Yeah. So this is clearly a C patch. It's mainly small nerfs, a lot of them. It's like a mixed bag. Certain heroes get nerfs, certain items get nerfs. Don't really want to go over everything. There's some buffs here and there as well, but overall, generally these C letter patches will most of the time be these 5 to 10 pro heroes are too good. We're going to nerf them in some fashion. And then sometimes there's a little bit of extra stuff, like in this one where there's some general updates. There's a lot of lines here about how they've moved some trees, removed some trees, and then changed some pathways and whatever. The biggest thing that I noticed today while playing was at the top lane, which means the rain-in off lane and the dire safe lane, the hard camp there is a lot more easily accessible for both teams. It used to be like surrounded by trees, so it's hard to pull. They've cut that. So it's like, imagine you were to show up to lane and cut like 8 trees with Quelling Blade on 738B. That's kind of what is done by default. And some spawn boxes are changed a little bit too. So that's the big thing up there that's been changed. They fixed the blind spot in the Roche pit that we've talked about, where you were able to stand inside the pit and look out, and then also be hidden inside, which is just a weird bug that's sorted.
No more bag users, right? As Yatoro
exactly, no more bag users. And then similar to the top area for the Dire, there's also been some work done at the Radiant bottom lane around their tier 1 tower. But that is, I feel like that's it feels less meaningful than the Dire one. But it's one of those things where I probably just need to play a couple more games to really feel how much it matters for like ganking angles and vision and whatnot. But the Dire one stood out to me immediately when I played the lane once. It was like, okay, this is very different. So I would say that's the bigger one. But theme of this patch is player-controlled units are creep heroes more so than before.
That is a crazy change.
If you have Helm of the Dominator or Helm of the Overlord, the creep that you take is a creep hero. That means it can't be one-shot by Midas, Arrow, Pudge Hook, etc. A creep hero, an easy way of thinking about it is think of it as Lone Druid's bear in your mind. That doesn't mean it's 100% parity with the rules for the bear, because it has like some specific limitations, things you can't do with the bear, but you could do with other creep heroes. But for the most part, it's a good guideline. If you're unsure, then just think about what would Lone Druid's bear do. The same goes for Chen's Convert. So the creep that he starts with now cannot be one-shot, which makes some of his bad matchups better. And also creep heroes cannot be enchanted either. So Chen and Enchantress can't take over these creeps. Yeah. And I'm assuming Night Stalker can't eat them either. So.
Well, he can. That's true. He can eat ancient creeps at night, heroes. But maybe there's some distinction there.
Well, since it's a creep hero, it's a different category.
How big of a buff is this to heroes like Beastmaster, would you say? Because you're not counterpicking with, I'm not that Chen and Enchantress have been used that recently, or that commonly.
I mean, it's more so of a buff to Dom than to Overlord, right? Because I think for Dominator, there's a lot more situations where this matters than for Overlord, because the creeps you would take with Overlord most of the time wouldn't get one-shot by spells anyway, right? Because you generally prioritize an Ancient. So mainly for Dom, I mean, without a doubt, it's a buff, and it removes some counterpick plays that teams and players will have against those specific heroes. And on top of that, for a hero like Beastmaster, I believe he's unchanged in this patch, whereas certain other meta heroes got nerfed. So, as always, by relative strength, he is better. In addition to this. And most of the items that were nerfed are actually not items that Beastmaster buys, like Mage Slayer, Orb of Corrosion, Revenant's Brooch, and I think those are the ones that got nerfed. And he uses none of them.
Is Infest part of this? Can you infest an enemy bear? I know it doesn't kill it, but can you infest the bear?
I don't actually think you can, but I could be wrong. Maybe you can.
With
I'm
Ags,
guessing
definitely
you can't
could,
do the...
right?
Okay, well, maybe you either need Ags or you need Gore Storm. That was the one that was a requirement to infest Ancients, right?
Yeah.
After the facet changes, I'm thinking. I don't play Lifestealer, so I don't know.
Interesting.
Aside from that, they've moved around a little bit of neutral item strength, but they haven't changed any of the items themselves. The ones that mainly stand out is Mana Draft got mega nerfed. It has 50% more cooldown, which is crazy. Whenever an item gets changed that much, it's
not a surprise.
It shows how powerful it was. Polywog Charm has its mana cost reduced from 40 to 0. That's also really big. This item is actually good now, in my opinion. It was already being picked by some players and some heroes. I think now it's very nice. Again, by comparison, if other items get nerfed, it's already better, and then you also remove the mana cost. So that one's really good. Ripper's Lash I have yet to see in a pro game, I think. That one got buffed by 33%. They nerfed Orb of Destruction. They nerfed Searing Signet. They nerfed Mindbreaker. And then I'm not focusing too much on tier 5s. There's a couple of changes there too. They buffed Nemesis Curse, which I thought was surprising. But
yeah, I was surprised by that.
You take less damage yourself with that one. And then for the enchantments, they've tweaked around some values. The ones that really stood out to me was that they buffed Vast, which I didn't think they were going to. That's the one that gives attack range. That one's better. And they also buffed the bonus, the damage on Tough. That's the one that gives damage and armor. And then they nerfed Mystical, which was a given. It was just the best one. And I think they also they didn't change Brawny actually. I guess they nerfed that last patch.
Wait a second. I could have sworn I saw that they lowered the armor for Tough, but I guess not. Yeah, because that one was considered like really good. The damage was whatever. People take it for the armor mostly.
Yeah. Maybe they nerfed the armor and the B patch. I don't remember, but I don't think so.
Yeah, but the Y, I know this is a tier 5, but Y's being the XP being boosted from 600 to 1000 is kind of drastic as well.
Yeah, if you get there.
Yeah.
I think I've played one game over 60 minutes.
I played plenty, so, you know.
Yeah, we will have different angles on this because I don't know how I would actually be curious to see a graph for this with like average game time. Or not only average game time, but also how big a percentage of games exceed 60 minutes by bracket. Because I have a theory that in Immortal, or High Immortal especially, let's say 10k or 9k plus or whatever, I think, which is not even that high, but let's just say, let's say numbered leaderboard, probably easily less than 1 in 20 games goes to tier 5s. So it's like my perspective on these items is so extremely limited that when I see them in pro play, I wonder how much the pros have even played with them, you know? Like there's so few games that get there. Whereas I think in Ancient or in Legend or even in Divine, I would guess the percentage of games that go an hour is way higher. People are not as good at ending games and playing on an advantage.
They like milking the game, Cinderin. They play with their food a lot.
They play Falcons, just not good.
Falcons?
Yeah, Falcons like to constrict the map and grow their lead, right?
Oh, you're saying they play a shitty version of Falcons?
Yes, they play like Falcons, but not well.
Okay. So you said Falcons were not good. I'm like, did I miss something?
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, I see. No. Okay, I'll highlight a couple of individual. Do you want to go over anything more here, by the way? Or okay. There were more changes to the enchantments, but again, there's nothing drastic. It's some numbers changes here and there but nothing really will blow your mind. Nothing got removed. Nothing got crazy. At least that's my first instinct here. Okay, I'll go over a couple of things that stood out to me. Abaddon, Curse of Avernus no longer deals damage to buildings, is a pretty big nerf. This is a decent part of the hero, is his ability to also siege. I think this is a good change. The hero has been too good for a while now. But he didn't only lose that, he lost a couple of extra things. He got nerfed really hard this patch, actually. Batrider, I don't know why this took them 10 years to make this decision, but finally now Flaming Lasso no longer anti-synergizes with the entire team. If you think about some of the designs that they've chosen to make over the last couple of years, some of them that I've disagreed with, like Oracle's Fate's Edict is my favorite example because I used to love that spell for its risk-reward, and then they took away the risk. This kind of follows the same philosophy that it sucks and it's anti-fun if you have an ult and your teammate sabotages it by using their spell. So I get it. To an extent, some of these things had a little bit of charm to them, right? That you had to be careful and play around it. But I think there's something different about this versus a spell in itself being redesigned, if that makes sense. This is like niche interactions. There's like 10 or 15 heroes that can fuck up Lasso one way or the other in your own team. And then I don't know if this is the comprehensive list of all of them, but they've got rid of, at the very least, the vast majority.
Not many Bat Rider
Dazzle got hit
players on
hard.
Valve, on the Valve team. That's why it took so long.
Probably not. Dazzle got hit mega hard, which is very deserved, obviously. North of Projection got nerfed on cast range. It leashes faster. It's shorter in duration. And Shadow Wave no longer does increased heal and damage when bouncing with Axe. So, like everything that made this hero beyond broken in Pro Dota, or at least a lot of it, got nerfed. So he's significantly worse.
But he can still use
Time Zone no
items and all
longer-
that, so I think it's still going to be
Yeah.
good for sure.
We'll see.
I hope
at the
it's
very
still
least,
good.
it's one of those things where the A and the B patch had heroes that were, I want to say, so overpowered that even nerfing them 2 or 3 notches, they can still be good.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we have a patch where it's like, oh, these 5 heroes are tier 1. These are the heroes that teams are banning and picking. And you're like, if they got nerfed by 10%, they would fall off the surface.
I think I speak for you as well when I
case.
say that Dazzle has been in the dumpster for so fucking long, and they finally have found an ultimate that I think is cool conceptually, that I hope that it is still going to be viable. Not something that's picked literally every game, but I enjoyed casting this hero, even though it was completely busted.
It was stupid.
But it's a cool
I think it
gameplay,
needs some work.
I think.
I think it needs some work still, because I think the concept and the idea behind the spell is awesome, but I think the execution still needs some work, personally. I think it's more frustrating and less skillful and interesting than maybe it could be after a little work, but we'll see. Time Zone no longer leashes, so...
This has been a big discussion on Reddit.
I don't know, I just think it's funny. It's like, this finally got good because it leashed.
Yeah.
And now it no longer leashes, so now you can counter this with Force Staff. It's like, how good is Time Zone really now?
So
maybe it's still good enough? I don't know.
Is it more about buffing your team now? They're standing in it and you're lowering their cooldowns? Is that the angle they're trying to go with? But then the crowd control is very weak now. Very, very weak.
Be honest, 9 out of 10 or even more times you cast Time Zone, you cast it only on the enemies and then there's just a fight.
Yes. But I'm saying is maybe they think that the buff tier team is powerful and people just aren't using it because the other aspect of it was too strong. So now they're keeping us slow, but you want your teammates in it because they'll take it. Like maybe we'll see some cool, like Bristleback was brought up as potentially just beat the shit out of people with so many cool sprays going off. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's a bunch of other combos as well. Maybe it's not as bad as people think. If it's, I mean, it's going to need more tweaks. There's no way that just making it not leash is going to, I feel like nobody's going to pick this now. But
the thing is, if you're right, the reason it's good to have it on your team is that the enemy team is also there. Otherwise, the cooldown reduction doesn't matter, right?
True.
Like, it's cool to have cooldown reduction in your teammates, but if the entire enemy team just bolts out of there, then you're just standing there like a clown, right?
A position 4, theoretically, should not be able to control an entire enemy team in an area, right? In theory.
I don't know. I mean, that's what Shaker does, right? It's like...
Once you get enough items, but this is like right away. I'm thinking of like a Mars Arena type. Like you would want to combo this now with like these restrictive spells.
I don't know how to balance this spell. I'll just be honest. I think it's a mess, and I think it's been a mess from the start, and I think they're trying to find a way to make it fair. And so far, it's either been awful or giga good, and not been like solid. Maybe now it will be. We'll see. I think they're just playing around with it to figure it out.
You know what would make it good, Cinderin, is make it global. What do you think?
That's very good.
Thank you. That's my
great suggestion.
My game design opinion.
Hoodwink, I'll just mention her quickly because certain other fours have been nerfed a little bit or other supports. She got 3 buffs. They're not big, but it adds up. When she gets 5% better and the other heroes get 5% worse, you're going to be seeing this hero more. So that's interesting. Jakiro got nerfed on Icebreaker. This was one of my immediate, okay, this facet is amazing. This will be a meta pro hero the moment I saw this. And that has been the case. I still think it will be picked a good amount, even though Jakiro got nerfed a bit here. I still think it's good.
Oh, what was the other facet again?
For Jakiro, that's the one where you get less damage penalty with your double attack.
Yeah, I mean...
It's terrible.
it's great for core Jakiro, which isn't a thing professionally, at least.
Therefore, it's terrible.
Yeah, so this will be taken literally every time still.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to take the other one.
As a Jakiro support, like you don't think that extra damage for harassment ends up making a difference?
It scales with your ult, so
yeah, that's an issue.
You get 10. I think you get 10% in lane, or 5% in lane, and then it gets better, but it gets better too late.
I see.
Otherwise, yeah, it could be interesting if it was better in the beginning, but. Magnus got hit hard. Deserved.
But you missed out on Juggernaut, Synderen. Really important.
Oh, yes. Lest we forget. Guys, you can no longer use Gleipnir on Jugger. Really unfortunate for those of you that didn't read the change logs and thought Gleipnir had chain lightning. Okay, this is like the most random change in a patch I've seen in a very long time. I don't understand.
I assume it's for Rubik, right?
So that he can't jump so far with his passive.
Yeah, it becomes a better spell for Rubik, but for Juggernaut, I mean...
You could argue it becomes worse for Rubik. It depends, right? It's like if you want to... A lot of the time when you cast Omnislash, you have like a perception of where you're going to be. So if your range is bigger, you might just jump to creeps that you didn't even think were in range.
Well, yeah. And lowering the AoE makes it better because you're hitting the hero that you want to hit, theoretically.
Right. Having lower AoE is better.
Yeah. This is lower AoE.
Exactly. So this is better now for Rubik that it got nerfed.
Yeah. Didn't you just say the opposite? Am I crazy?
No, I thought you said the opposite.
No.
Right, anyway.
No.
It's just...
we need Juggernaut back in the meta, man. What happened to this hero? Come on.
It's just such a random change. Maybe there's some ability draft reason behind this.
Give him one extra armor. Like something. Come on.
This actually feels like an ability draft change.
Possibly.
It really does. Okay, Magnus got nerfed a lot.
Hold on.
He deserved that. Okay, I'm skipping again. Okay.
Kez only has one change. Do you think that he is close to CM as a result? One single change instead of 25 talent.
I cannot place this hero. I know his win rate isn't very good in Immortal, but I also wonder how many people pick it actually know how to play it. And... I don't know. He's the hero that I think in all of Dota's history, that is the hero I understand the least, even with how long he's been out. I just don't... It's so convoluted when and why he is strong compared to a hero like Invoker. I personally find Kez a more complicated concept, actually, because all of Invoker's spells are they're very distinct, they're kind of easy to understand, and... There's like a finite amount of them you cast in succession, right? With Kez with Ags, it just feels like you're doing fucking, I don't know, like you're doing like 7 things, and
yeah,
it's so weird.
I feel like I'm trying to remember a time where, as a caster, I was not looking forward to a hero coming out in CM to cast, and I would put him on the very short list. He might be alone on the list. So I don't know what the fuck's going on with him either.
The thing is, if you're casting Kez, you just need to make like caveman yelling sounds because he goes in and somebody dies instantly, and you just go ooga wooga, and then
I think Raptor Dance
hyped
and
Kez one-shot someone.
The grapple are two very distinct things for this hero. But aside from that, I don't know.
It's so weird. Well, we'll see. All right, now it's time for Magnus. He lost 2 strength. Shockwave does less damage at level 1, 2, and 3, and the Empower self bonus was reduced by from 50% to 30%, which is massive.
Yeah.
This hero was very overpowered in a similar fashion to Dazzle and Abaddon, and you can see the clear pattern. These 3 heroes have got multiple nerfs, and a lot of the time when I see multiple lines of nerfs, I'm like, did they kill the hero, aka Lich, last patch? I don't think they killed any of the ones they nerfed here. I think these are clever nerfs, and they're not overboard. Lich, I think, got dumpstered way too hard, and undeservedly so. It's fine to nerf a hero because it's too powerful in pubs and too popular, but they flat out killed him.
Yeah, why didn't they buff him here? This is a perfect opportunity to give him a little love, you know?
I don't know.
Nobody at Valve plays Lich. Sick of Lich. No, they're just sick of seeing him constantly.
They nerfed Prophet a little bit. I think he got nerfed the least out of the tier heroes.
The one before it's in there, Muerta. Very, very important. Ofrenda facet, which literally nobody takes. Literally.
Yeah, it gives 5 more attack speed.
Yeah. When does this become good?
I don't know. I don't know what the cooldown is on a Frenda even.
This is the one where you when you die, you teleport to where it is. But then when you do so, you get the Muerta ult buff essentially for. Wait, is it just? It's not just attack speed. You get the Muerta buff. I keep saying Muerta. The Pierce the Veil.
Remember.
I'm pretty sure you are ulted for a couple seconds.
Okay.
I could be wrong. I might be making this up now.
The reason I can't dispute it is that I genuinely have not seen this.
I know. Yeah.
Played. I think the only times I've seen Ofrenda has been in Immortal games where somebody has picked Muerta with the intent of dying as much as possible to grief their teammates. Then they pick Ofrenda, put it in the enemy mid lane, and respawn instantly and die at the tower over and over.
All right, I'm looking up Muerta facet right now.
Somehow Valve have not changed that aspect of it, even though they're very anti-griefing. That is still possible, apparently. Okay, while you look this up, next S tier hero, Nature's Prophet. He lost a little bit of health on the treants, the Ironwood treants, and he gets a bit less damage from Spirit of the Forest, which is his bonus damage per tree. I thought this hero was going to get nerfed harder. I still think for my money, this is the best hero in the entire game. At a pro level.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I just think he's the best hero. He can go to all lanes. He can play all roles. He scales incredibly well. He's super powerful early on. He's one of the best ultra late gamers. He can buy all items. It's like the only thing in my book, the only thing this hero doesn't have is a stun. Is everything else.
He used to have the root.
It's crazy, yeah. I mean, you could argue he doesn't have a stun or a slow, but technically he has Curse of the Old Growth, right? This hero is just bonkers, and I don't think he should have ever been made universal. I think to me, that was a mistake. And
yeah, he was the best body in the game before he was universal.
I think this will be reverted in 739. I think he will be made int.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Very important update.
It's way too hard to
on Muerta, Cinderin.
Mm-hmm.
So when you use that facet, the Ofrenda, you become you appear in corporal form for 0.5 seconds. That's what I remembered. 0.5. It's irrelevant. Completely irrelevant.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Just thought I'd update everybody. Very important.
It's so stupid. Night Stalker gets nerfed. He was also an S tier hero recently. He loses some night regen on Heart of Darkness, which makes in particular his laning worse. But also I think this was the best talent in the entire game relative to when you got it. It has now been nerfed from 35 to 30 to now 20, which was his level 15 talent, Hunter in the Night status resistance bonus. Him just getting those 35 or 30% is insane. Now it's 20. It's still very good, I think. It was ridiculously overtuned. But, okay. It's a step in the right direction. All right, do you want to go over Ringmaster, your favorite hero?
Hell yeah. Crystal Ball now indicates the exact position of each enemy hero in the area without revealing their identity. That's a buff. Unicycle no longer gets knocked off if the damage taken is below 20. You no longer get knocked off from any damage for 1.5 seconds after mounting the unicycle. So an actual getaway use case for unicycle, and can now cast non-channeling spells. So that's everything but his Q, and pick up runes without dismounting. So unicycle is just objectively very good now. Weighted pie
around us a box.
Oh, I didn't think about that. That's true.
Yes, you can. It's so random.
It's gonna break the box pretty much immediately, though, right? Because the AoE is so small. What do you mean? The AoE of the box is really small and really
true.
fast.
Yeah, how far you can drive.
And then weighted pie will slow the affected target as well.
Yeah.
So just buffs all around for this sideshow secrets facet, which we saw once, and it was terrible.
Well, they just lost the game. It wasn't really it wasn't Ringmaster's fault. Whitemon played well. There was just only so much he could do.
So now what do you think, Cinder? Is it good enough?
It's better. I still think the other one is just best. I think it's a step in the right direction for what they're trying to do with the unicycle in particular, because what makes the other facet better is, in my opinion, just flat out, how many situations is this relevant, right? And the old unicycle was really specific situations. Now it's way more because you can use it to escape with. The other one was, if you think of either giving yourself or an ally health or jumping, it's just, or creating an illusion to manta dodge or whatever. It's just way too reliable and useful, and it's good in any fight, whereas these are...
Well, I think unicycle is good in any fight now.
Yes,
you can use it to get away, and you can use it to initiate, and you don't get off of the unicycle while casting shit other than the Q. So, really
and now that
good.
weighted pie also slows, they're definitely significantly better now. So perhaps this is equally good now. I don't know, but I'm way more. They're at least a lot closer. That's for sure.
I mean, wouldn't you say, out of the 6 abilities, or these trinkets, or whatever the hell they're called, I'm not saying it's useless, okay? I'm just saying it's the least useful is the illusion one, which is on the other facet.
Maybe now.
I feel like that one is a little bit more niche than the rest.
Ball is. I think it's just hard to use, actually.
The crystal ball is hard to use?
At high level play, it might be. It might actually be. You may be right. Maybe the illusion one is the worst now. But then the other 2 are the 2 best. So then, I don't know. Maybe unicycle is also better than the what's it called? The whoopee cushion now?
Yeah, maybe.
We'll see. I think there's a good chance that this will be shown in pro play. So then we'll get some more perspective. I want to quickly mention, like I said, there's a lot of small things here and there. I will mention this specific one. Skywrath Mage has 1 line, but I think this is actually very big. Arcane Bolt mana cost reduced from 85 to 70. Does a lot for this hero's laning. And Skywrath is one of those heroes that kind of, I want to say, almost disappeared or has found very little success after heroes ramp up faster and with neutral items, because of he fell behind the curve of dispels and movement and all this stuff. And he obviously only has a silence and spell burst. But what his identity used to be, he used to be the lane harass support. And perhaps this can slightly bring that back.
The real question is, have they fixed his ult being invisible, which inexplicably has been a bug for years, and I am genuinely shocked it's never been fixed. Maybe it has been recently. I don't know. Maybe
they don't know how to fix that, and that's why they've just made Skywrath bad. Because then people aren't complaining because he's not being picked anyway.
Yeah.
That's the next level.
I mean, you would if you didn't know how to fix it somehow. I don't know how that's even possible. Surely you just make a new particle then. Like, it's so weird that's been invisible.
TA gets big buffs. 2-second less cooldown on refraction is really big. This means there's a lot of situations in fights where she will get off an extra 1. And it has an extra instance now. It's up from 2+1 per level to 3+1 per level. So this is the old numbers of refraction, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then there's a bug fix for meld. And the refraction talent gives another instance as well. So now that's up to 10 again when you have level 25. TA got hit extremely hard in 738. So she needed some love. And this could be... I don't know if this is enough, but she's definitely way more viable now, without a doubt. Dead in the Water goes from 25 to 35 second cooldown. This is top 5 shard in the entire game.
Oh yeah.
I think it's fair. It's ridiculously powerful. People love to hate on Tinker. He got a little bit of nerfs, but not to the same extent as the other heroes. He's mainly been nerfed on Laser, the Ags version, which in pro games, a lot of the games Tinker doesn't even get there or doesn't need to. But Defense Matrix has a little more mana cost. And then the Barrier is a little weaker with the 15 talent. I still think this hero is extremely good.
Do you like the hero? Conceptually?
So
versus the old one.
I found myself playing the new Tinker more than the old Tinker, or being more drawn to it, but that's specifically just because it's a support, right? Mm-hmm. I don't play the mid Tinker. I used to play the mid Tinker a little bit many years ago, but Do I think it's a better design? Not really, honestly. I think he's weird. But I'm pretty good at the hero, I would say. And if it's good in the patch, as a support, that is. I'm not good at the whole core rotating 7 items and all this shit. But
Yeah.
the overall main support play I find to be
I feel like
pretty straightforward. But
I'm trying to pinpoint why I don't like his current design. And I think it's just defense matrix, actually. I don't mind him being like pseudo support, like, being able to flex between the two. This spell is a mess. Like, I just don't like this type of a spell on Tinker in general. But then if you get rid of it for something else, you probably can't play him as support. It's just like the healing March in the Machine.
Yeah.
But I just despise defense matrix.
Well, you could imagine if Tinker, let's entertain the idea that defense matrix became heat-seeking missiles. You could probably still imagine this hero played as an oppressive lane support.
Yeah.
But then the problem is, where do you go next? Right? Because then you can't do anything itemization-wise except become a core.
It's like they took one of the most annoying spells in the game for offensive purposes and replaced it with one of the most annoying spells of defensive purposes. Like, just give him something that's not annoying, and then he's probably going to be okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. The thing about defense matrix is, one of my gripes with Dota right now is I think barriers are just too powerful and they're hard to balance because they are post-reduction, right? So if you put a barrier on a hero that has a lot of armor and a lot of magic resist, it's stronger than if you put it on someone that doesn't have it, because the calculation takes their armor and magic resist into account first, and then you dip into the barrier. So what if barriers were just pre-reduction instead, and then you buffed the numbers? Then it's way more predictable. It's easier to balance because you can like tweak them for different phases of the game and whatnot.
Yeah, I would
I don't know, I think it's just
I would get rid of the barrier, or at least nerf it dramatically and increase the status resist. I think the status resist is a cooler aspect of this spell, because having a support cast essentially bulldoze on something, that's kind of cool, right? Whereas the barrier is just fucking annoying.
There's different ways you can be defensive than having a shield.
Yeah.
It could be all sorts of stuff. If you think about, for example, what Void's innate is, which I think is really cool, the bullet time one, where when projectiles approach you, they're slower. You could imagine the defense matrix could have some sort of reflective properties or slowing properties for projectiles or attacks or anything, right? You do all sorts of stuff. If you want him to have a defensive spell, there are other ways than barrier, but yeah, we'll see. I'm still holding on to hope that they give up on the barrier idea in its current form, because I just think it's hard to implement it in a good way. Tiny gets buffed on crash landing, but not on the damage, just on the slows. And then he loses a bit of damage on grow, and he loses movement speed on level 2 and 3 grow. So nerf to carry Tiny, slight buff to support / mid. Don't think it's too significant, but it's I'm mentioning it because it's showing that they're trying to not make Tiny only a carry, which is, I think, a big part of his identity has always been the flex. Windranger gets 3 base damage. I want to mention this too. I think we're actually going to see this hero quite a bit more in we already saw in Wallachia when we were casting, you and I, that some teams started experimenting with Windranger 4. I think the 3 bonus damage is particularly powerful on support Wind for her laning purposes. And then they obviously take Kill Shot, and they have this long range execute and a lot of control with Shackle Shot and Gale Force. I think this hero is actually super fun to play when it's good as support, but in the last 3 years, it has been either not good as support and played by Seb, or not good as support and played by no one. And I don't mean the mid player, nobody. So it's cool. I played 1 game of it today. I had a lot of fun experimenting with it a little bit. I think she's back, actually, as a support, which I want to celebrate that. I think she's a cool hero, so that's fun.
Yep, I like this facet.
Yep, that's it. I think Wraith King got some changes, but I don't really know how much this matters. I guess the Wraith. Okay, let's mention the Wraith Fire cooldown. That's pretty significant. It's 3 seconds lower on level 1. So bit better in lane. I don't know about you. This whole Bone Guard thing, I think it's way less obvious when and why this is good than the old skeletons.
I don't even know what the difference is with the old skeletons.
Me neither.
What's different?
I played against a Wraith King recently, and I felt like the skeletons were utterly useless.
Oh, I see.
But
There's just stats then.
but I don't know if that's because they are actually weaker or because the game got stronger. Or if you feel stronger faster, or if Wraith King's laning doesn't.
Yeah, and I think his other facet, whatever it's called, is really boring.
That's I don't actually remember what it's called either. I'm booting it up right now.
It doesn't matter. Hero's irrelevant right now, so it doesn't matter, Cinder.
Yeah.
Probably won't
well,
be
they're
casting
definitely
anytime
trying. Oh yeah, Spectral Blade. That's right. That's where you curse enemies.
Yeah, it's a weird one
For some damage. Yeah,
right.
he's a little bit in a weird place, but maybe this will help a bit.
That is 7.38C. Overall, good.
Yes.
Good job.
Yeah, I don't know what your verdict is. I'm pretty happy with this. I think they hit a lot of the right heroes. And again, as usual, I'm happy with nerf patches because I would love to bring more heroes into meta, but rather by nerfing strong heroes than buffing weak heroes. Because this makes for a bit slower gameplay, which I think is the game has power prepped a lot in the last few years. So I'm happy to see nerfs too.
Yep, I know.
To try to level the playing field a bit. Yep. All right,
let's move on to a tournament we didn't mention last week. Thus, we didn't do predictions, which is Fissure Universe Episode 4, which is currently underway. We can see the bracket is already getting close to being done. It looks like it's another couple days left.
I'm happy to take the blame for not doing predictions on that. I flat out just didn't add it to the list. We went ahead and already thought ahead to Raleigh, but obviously this is ongoing since the 22nd. So they've played for almost a week, and the tournament concludes on Sunday. So we're pretty close. We're in the playoffs now. This ran a similar format to PGL Wallachia. They're running a 16-team Swiss. 8 teams advance into double elim. It's, as a matter of fact, the exact same format.
Which you and I both like quite a bit.
Yep, it's a good format for sure. I don't know if you want to go over results or wait until the tournament has actually concluded, because as we are now, we have the top 8, and we have, I think, the top 6 actually. But yeah, we have the top. I think we have the top 6.
Well, I feel like the next time, which we'll get to in the next segment, the next time we have a podcast episode, we probably will not be talking about this at all. So it would have to be later. So is it better to talk about half-done tournament now or not? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we can quickly go over surprises, I suppose, or unsurprising things. To me, this tournament is pretty stacked. It's got Spirit, Tundra, Paravision, and Liquid, and then Falcons, Bet Boom, Aurora, Talon, Night Pulse, Game In, 1 win and 1 move, Tidebound, Boom, Wildcard, and M80. And out of these, I think 7 out of 8 teams that didn't advance, probably, maybe even 8 of them, is kind of unsurprising when you look at the power level that we've seen recently from the team. So out of the Swiss came Spirit, Tundra, Liquid, Tidebound, Paravision, Game In, Falcons, and Bet Boom. Honestly, if
only
you went
surprise
into this tournament,
kind of is Aurora, maybe, right?
Yeah, that was the one thing I was going to mention. Maybe Aurora could have taken the slot of one of the other teams. But aside from that, honestly, this was kind of unsurprising completely.
Yeah. I didn't realize the last game that Bet Boom played was against Aurora. They get
they knocked them out.
Vibes here.
Yep, that's right. They beat out their old guys. Yeah, and we're into the bracket now. Obviously, the tournament is in progress right now. China has a top 6 team, so congratulations to them. Tidebound actually beat Paravision in a 2-1 series in upper round 1. Then they got 2-0 by Bet Boom, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. And they have to play Tundra. So congrats to Tidebound on 5th, 6th.
Liquid out first round, lower bracket.
I believe Liquid won the first game against Game and Gladiators, and then the patch dropped.
Oh, is that?
And after that, and then Liquid lost 4 games in a row.
Oh, that's
They then got 2-1 by Game In, and then they got 2-0 by Tundra. And I don't want to blame the patch for it because it's only so much, right? Who knows? Maybe it caught them off guard. Maybe it threw them off a little bit with some of their prep or what they thought was good or whatever. But it's kind of funny to see a patch drop and then a team lose 4 games in a row like that.
Yeah. That's crazy.
But it's the same for everyone, you know. The other teams also get the same patch. It's not just you. Yeah, and today Spirit knocked out Power Vision. So Power Vision got 7th, 8th, which, all things considered, obviously not the result they're hoping for. This is a pretty stacked top 8, so good teams will get 7th, 8th, and that was Power Vision and Liquid. And that means the remaining teams now are Tidebound, BetBoom, Falcons, Gaimin, and Spirit and Tundra. Wait, did I get that right? Did I mention 6 teams there? If I was listening intently, I could answer that question. It's good enough, Shannon. We'll let it run.
Sounds good, buddy.
Fine.
Yep.
Yeah. We'll see when we conclude this. Like you said, our next episode will probably be while we are in the States.
That's right, because ESL One Raleigh is soon, everybody. Next week's episode will not be at the normal time. Well, first and foremost, if you are going to be attending and you somehow haven't bought tickets yet, you can use the promo code, if you want to call it that, in the description of the YouTube video to buy your tickets, because it helps me and Cinderin out. Cinderin and me out. Cinderin and I? Me. Cinderin and me out. Yep.
Good grammar.
I can spend some of that money to get education on how to speak proper English, for example. But yeah, Raleigh is coming up, which we'll do predictions for in a moment. It is quite possibly the last NA LAN for a very long time, if not ever. Genuinely would not be surprised if this is the last one that we see in NA. I do not think TIs will be in Seattle anymore. Just a hunch. It's not any inside info or anything like that, but either way, typically like these tournaments come every couple years, right? So we talked about it last time.
Good opportunity to go if you can.
2 years ago it was Arlington. 2 years before that was Captain's Draft, like more than 2 years. That's pretty much it, other than a TI. So, but yeah, when we're there, we haven't figured out the exact dates, but we're thinking the second to last day of the tournament. After the first series, we will be doing a meet and greet / live episode of We Say Things at the venue. So if you if you're gonna be there, you can show up and say hi. I don't know the logistics yet. Those are just estimated times. I have no clue. But yeah, it'll be fun. And let's see, what else is there to talk about before predictions? This will be, I believe, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure R Cryptic, who's my buddy, Ricky, this will be his first LAN that he's casting in front of a live audience, which is fucking awesome. I'm super hyped for him.
Yeah.
And I would like to play pickleball while we're there. I've played with Ricky once. He's newer. He'll bring a paddle, and I can bring 3 paddles. So you, me, Ricky, and a +1 will find a pickleball court and we'll play. Because I've been fiending this shit for a year now.
I have a lot of racket sports experience.
Good.
So
yeah, I figured you'd pick it up pretty well. Yeah. So yeah, I'll bring the equipment. You make sure you bring shoes though. That's the only thing.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes they'll kick you off of a court if you don't have proper shoes.
So the shoes you use, I'm assuming, are like indoor sports hall shoes, or
well, I don't know if it'll be indoor or outdoor, because I usually play outdoor. But
the shoes you use are the ones you would use for like playing
tennis,
let's say basketball.
Or basketball. Yeah, either of those are fine. Yeah.
Okay.
That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fucking hype. I can't wait to slam the ball in your fucking face. It's gonna be great.
Here's my deal, Shannon. I'll play pickleball with you, but you have to go play disc golf with me too.
Does it have to be at this event?
I don't know if we'll have time for both, but I will say disc golf is big in the US and they have some nice courses. So I'm assuming if there is one, I will go with Lyrical regardless, and Cap maybe. He's there as well, I believe. Both of them are going, right?
So I don't think we're going to have time to do both, Cinder, and I'm going to be real with you.
We'll see.
Okay.
If we don't have time for both, I'll prioritize pickleball for you.
Okay, how about this? Okay. I'll promise to play it at some point in the future, even though I know that I will not really... I mean, I'll enjoy the company. I enjoy walking outdoors. I know that the sport, it does not interest me at all. Like, it just doesn't look fun. But that's fine. Okay. The other two, check the boxes, that's fine. We'll do it once.
The nice thing about disc golf is that if you don't want to play, it's just a nice walk in nature with other people.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's like
fair.
It's just pleasant. regardless.
Yep, I agree.
Okay.
Maybe I'll like it. Who knows? All right. So ESL One Raleigh is coming. This is 2 groups where the bottom 2 get eliminated. The middle 2 get put into the lower bracket. And then, of course, the upper 2 are upper bracket. So fairly standard
12 teams only.
Format.
Which makes for different predictions, obviously.
Yep, that's
the
true.
last couple tournaments we've predicted have had 16. Okay, I feel like I made you go first last time, so I think I should go first this time.
It doesn't matter,
with
but sure.
The top 3. So teams in attendance are Parivision, BetBoom, Falcons, Liquid, Tundra, Avulus, Spirit, Nigma Galaxy, Tidebound, Talon, Shopify Rebellion, and Heroic. So top 3 first, and as usual, the order matters for bonus points, but...
Man, this is hard now because there's been some changes to rosters.
Yeah. Who's good in NA? And I don't mean NA teams. Nobody's... Don't misinterpret it, please. Who is good at playing when they are in America? Who is not American? Let's see. Don't. I understand my wording could have been misconstrued there. No one is good in America.
Accurate statement.
Who do I pick? All right, I'm going to pick my 3 teams and then I'm going to order them. I'm picking Spirit. I'm picking Spirit, Liquid, and Falcons.
Whoa. Okay.
Okay, so I will not pick Tundra for this. That could turn out to be a mistake. We'll see. I will pick Spirit to win. Second place will be Team Liquid, and third place will be Falcons.
Okay. I'll switch it up a bit.
Okay.
In no particular order, which I'll order after, like you, for whatever reason. Tundra, Falcons, BetBoom.
Okay.
I'm going to switch it up.
That's definitely going to be very different.
Wait, who's on BetBoom these days? Let me double check this. Oh, it's Pure. Yeah, no, he did really well at
Pure
Arlington.
became Eurosave and can't tell me.
Yeah.
The problem is definitely not the quality of the individual players. They have superstars.
So I'm going to say Falcons wins, Tundra third, BetBoom second.
Just to make it difficult. Okay. BetBoom second.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
I have a. I want to do my
sure.
dark horse is Tidebound.
Yep. Okay.
Now, what is considered dark
in the most recent tournament, which is Fissure
could be
now,
Nigma, though, actually.
Tidebound are top 6 currently. Who knows how far they will go? And in the previous tournament, they got top 8 and got. But even though they started upper, that was in Wallachia, they lost to Extreme, and then they lost. I don't remember who knocked them out.
I changed my mind. So NGX. Changed my mind.
Okay.
NGX.
Okay.
They always do good at LAN.
What is a dark horse performance for them with 12 teams? Top 6?
Yeah. I mean,
you think that's fair?
I think so, yeah. So
they need to beat 2 out of Paravision, BetBoom, Falcons, Liquid, Tundra, Spirit, and likely Tidebound or Avulus. Probably Tidebound, actually. They need to beat 2 of them. I think that's dark horse for me. That's okay.
All right.
Do you have a donkey yet?
Liquid. I think they'll be last. Okay. But whatever you would consider. No, I'm not actually last. All right. No.
I mean, okay, listen.
They're very volatile.
We can give you bonus points for really bold predictions if you want. So far, we've had like Dark Horse and White Donkey giving 1 point each, right? Or no, they gave 2 points each. You can get one for. Oh wait, have I done the point system wrong?
Could they be out of group stage? Is that possible?
Dark Horse and White Donkey are supposed to give 2 points.
Are they?
Yeah, I only gave you 1 point last time. No, I do have one more point on me now.
Cheat the system.
I'm gonna have to double check the scores after this.
Yeah, we need to get a counter on the pot. I keep saying this. I'm too fucking lazy.
All right, Shannon. Do you want to take Liquid, get bottom 2 in their group?
Mm-hmm.
4 points.
We don't know the groups yet, which is really sad.
No.
4 points,
But
and this is a
teams,
double
they
or
need to
nothing,
get-
right? So if it's like if they still bomb out but they get through groups, then I don't get any points, correct?
You get nothing. It's the dark horse white donkey thing is just flat out binary. Either it's correct or you get nothing. So you'll get 4 points if they're bottom 2 in their group, which is 9 through 12.
The problem is, I think they'll do better than Talon, Shopify, Heroic, no matter what. So it kind of depends on what group. I could see Ovilus outperforming them on like
Okay.
and NGX.
You can just do a normal white donkey.
I'll do
as well.
normal. I'll do normal. I think they will be bottom 4, or no, that bottom 4 would be in the groups. So bottom 6 then, I guess.
So not top 6.
Yeah, not top 6.
That is definitely white donkey. If they don't get top 6, they just won a LAN.
Yeah.
That is very white.
I know.
So
very white. We should have called it bright donkey, but whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, there's a reason we don't have sponsored segments. Okay. My dark horse. So you picked. All right. So then I will pick.
I mean, you shouldn't be basing it off. I mean, it's still early on in the year, kind of. Shouldn't be.
Yeah.
You know.
But I don't know. I don't know if I wanted Nigma anyway, to be honest. What did I do last time? I did Tidebound for Wallachia, and I was close.
Time for Tidebound again. China.
I'll try it again, Shannon, as a dark horse. Don't worry, I didn't put them top 3.
All right.
That's
what is it? Top what though?
Yeah. What is dark horse for Tidebound in your opinion?
Top 4, probably. I think top 6. I kind of expect them to be top 6.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? We've moved the goalpost a little bit because that would have been.
I'll accept top 4. Wait, what are the distinctions here with this format? So it's 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. Okay.
Yeah.
Top 4. I'd give you that.
Do I want that? I mean, who else would I pick though? I don't really believe very much in. Yeah, sure, I'll take that. Which effectively is. We think Tidebound get 4th because otherwise I could have put them in my top 3.
Yeah, that's true. Very specific 4th.
That's fine. I mean, it's like if they overperform, that's fine, and I get a 2-pointer, right? My white donkey is Tundra.
Shopify, Cinderan, Tundra. Wait, what?
White donkey.
Oh, white donkey. Yeah, of course.
What is white donkey for them? Is that not top 4, or is it even not top 3?
Ooh.
I would argue not top 4, probably, if I had to be fair, but
yeah,
because there's like multiple good teams, right? Liquid, Spirit, Falcons, Parivision, BetBoom. So is it a true disappointment if Tundra get 4th?
Yeah, if they're 4th, it's not crazy. 5th, 6th would be kind of crazy.
Yeah, and there's also Tidebound that could upset. All right, I'll say Tundra not top 4. All right, you know what? While you figure out for a second here, I'm gonna recount the scores. I don't want to.
I was thinking about.
I want this to be on record here.
Yeah, that's fine. I was thinking about Shopify as a dark horse just because of the Bulba juice, NA home ground, but can't do it. Sorry, Bulba. If anybody wants to send us a, I don't know why I'm asking for a graphic of the score. I could literally just make that myself in 10 seconds. But yeah, I need to add something to the overlays for this scoring system. Very important.
Dude, am I really far behind? Okay. You know what? I'm gonna have to.
What's the score?
I can't do this live. I think
you're I'm winning. You're losing right now.
Yeah, I think if this is incorrect the way I've scored it so far, I think it benefits you. But I have to go through the history of these lands now to make sure I didn't mess it up. It's all good. I'll figure it out.
All right, let's finish up with some roster changes. Yeah.
Yes.
We should mention again. Hope to see you guys in Raleigh. Should be a lot of fun. So OG, they made some major changes, Cinderman. 9 and Days are the only 2 remaining members on the lineup, and they are trial running Olnit, Devai Lama, which is an interesting one, and Kadaro.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
I will be completely honest and say I have no clue. but it can't really get much worse than when it just was, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was the low point of the org. It just wasn't working. They've tried different things. It just didn't click. So it's funny because people will see this roster and they might be like, wow, they downgraded because they have less, let's say, famous players in specific positions. That doesn't mean they're going to play worse. There might just be better chemistry with these players or whatever. I will say Days looked really good on Navi Jr. And it was hard for him to look good on the previous OG team because things didn't go very well. I think my main criticism in terms of individual performance on the recent OG was actually 9.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
I think 9 was just flat out not playing well, and this guy's ceiling is extremely high, but he was at floor level for, as far as I'm concerned, basically almost the entire time of the previous roster. So I don't know if this is going to light a fire under his ass or whatever, but I was disappointed.
Who would you get?
Because I know how good he can be.
Should mention there's not really that many free agents right now.
Right. I suppose. I don't know what the perspective is here. If they were swapping out players based on individual performance in their respective lanes, I personally think 9 probably played the worst. But there might be bigger perspectives at play here by keeping him and rebuilding around him. Maybe I would say 9 is a pretty emotional player. So if the atmosphere in the team isn't good or things aren't clicking, I also think that could reflect more poorly on him than other players, probably, in his individual play and performance. So let's give it a chance here to see. But that is definitely next time I'm watching OG, I'm looking out for. I want to see better play from 9, and then everything around it we'll see. You know, it's like a mixed bag how good this is going to be. But
yep,
OG are definitely in dire straits, so they need a W right now.
Apparently, they lost in the first round of a tournament today. I don't know what qualifiers that was.
Okay, but that is not a W.
Yep, rough stuff, rough start.
Yep,
but you never know with these kind of lineups. You never know.
Yeah, losing round 1 in opens though is not great. Okay, the other roster is Virtus Pro. They have picked up ex Chimera minus Panto, who obviously switched teams, and then they have replaced Panto with Rain on the hard support role. Chimera made some waves, in particular the end of last year, I believe. I think this team can be pretty good. So if VP wanted to re-enter Dota, this is not a bad angle, I think. I say re-enter. When was their last team? They just had one, didn't they? They just didn't really get to much.
Did they?
VPF kind of.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I could be wrong. I don't think it's been that long since Virtus Pro had a roster. Let's see. Oh, it's a little bit hard to gauge from this because I think there's been like some swapping in and out. But I think the team with Squadix and Noticed and Antares, how old is that? Is it actually? It might be a couple months since they played the last time, but it's not very long. Yep.
All right.
Pretty promising.
I think that does it, Cinderman.
Yeah. Sure does.
I'll see you soon in Raleigh. We get to play some pickleball.
Yep.
Should be a lot of fun. I'll remind you to bring your shoes because I know you're not going to remember.
Yep. Do that.
All right. Until next time.
Until bring my discs, and I'll have enough for you as well.
Okay,
Don't
great.
worry. I have enough for both of us. Yes.
We'll see you guys in Raleigh for the next episode. It'll be a bit delayed. In fact, I guess it'll be like a full week delayed on the actual episode.
It'll be toward the end of the tournament, right? So it's in about 2 weeks.
All right. See you guys at the last NA LAN ever? ? See ya. We say things that don't mean anything.
Subscribe.
But thanks for listening. Yeah.